NBC News says that Joe Biden wants another round of economic relief because of COVID. Okay, well, maybe open up the economy and we won't have as big of an economic crisis. I don't know, that seems like a plan because Joe wants to shut down the economy again once he's in office for up to 6 weeks. 6 weeks. That will kill the remain. All of the businesses that survived so far will be dead. All of the small businesses. There won't be any businesses left. The only places you're going to be able to buy stuff is going to be Walmart and Amazon. That's it. That's all that will be left. Okay. So let's see. Uh, President-elect Joe Biden on Wednesday used a virtual roundtable with workers and small business owners struggling economically due to the worsening coronavirus pandemic to offer another full-throated call for COVID-19 stimulus. Okay, it's no longer really about the coronavirus pandemic, it's about the lockdowns. Okay? Uh if everybody just went back to work, we wouldn't have a economic crisis. I mean, we'd have a very shallow recession most likely, but as we've already seen, as we started opening back up in various states, we're starting to see that V-shaped return. But if we lock down again, well, that's going to be a big issue. Okay. Um, Biden says he was pushing the current Congress to pass a spending package which would push for another after he's sworn in next month. We need to get help out the door as soon as we can, Biden said. He's urging congressional Republicans to work on a bipartisan emergency package. Okay, okay, hold on. I'm sorry. Why is he urging congressional Republicans and not just Congress? Because as I recall, a couple months ago, it was the Democrat Party that was refusing all of the bills proposed to them. Every single one. I believe it was Nancy Pelosi that was like, "Oh no, we're not getting what we want." And then when Republicans uh, decided to give them more of what they wanted in the bills, they still wouldn't accept it because it was never about the stimulus. It was never about helping the American people. It was just about making Trump look bad. Okay, so don't even give me that. Biden, you had the chance to say something months ago, but instead you just hid from all media and barely said anything. I mean, you barely campaigned. So, forgive me for not believing you now because it's ridiculous. And now you're even only calling out Republicans because apparently the Republicans are the ones that are blocking the care packages, okay? No, it's not. It was the Democrats. And I mean, even CNN called out the Democrats and said, "Hey, just take the win." And they didn't. So this is a bunch of bull, in my opinion. Uh, Especially considering the actual stimulus bill that is outlined is only a temporary $908 billion stimulus bill, but it doesn't include another round of direct payments. It's only for more unemployment benefits. So the people who need the money right now, it's your money and you need it now. Uh, they're not going to get it. You have to actually apply to the unemployment and get that. So there's going to be like this. There's going to be people that have applied that it takes months for them to even see the unemployment. Then you have people who um, are in this gray area where their pay was cut enough that they can't afford their bills, but not enough for them to be able to apply for the constructive dismissal uh, to get unemployment. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be hurt because of this. Um, and quite honestly, if you're going to do a stimulus package, direct payments would probably be a better idea. Now, I'm not in favor of either of these. I'm in favor of just opening back up because that would be the best road to recovery. But Biden wants to shut down for another 6 weeks when he gets in office. So who knows? I'm sorry, but even the World Health Organization said that lockdowns are supposed to be a last ditch effort and that they're not to be used willy nilly. And Joe Biden just wants to be like, well, let's lock down again. We tried it once and it didn't really work, but let's do it again because reasons. So, whatever. And on top of that, let's jump to this next story. Uh, the Democrats can't even seem to follow their own rules when it comes to lockdown. So I can guarantee you, if Joe Biden institutes the 6 week lockdown, none of the Democrat leadership is going to follow it. They're going to still have house parties and go to restaurants. They're going to do everything because look right here. San Francisco's Democratic mayor says more severe COVID-19 restrictions are on the way after being caught dining at a fancy restaurant. Okay? So here it is. Uh, she announced on Tuesday that more strict coronavirus related restrictions are on the way. However, uh, she attended a birthday party for a close friend at French Laundry, the upscale Napa Valley restaurant, last month. It's the same restaurant where Gavin Newsom, also a Democrat, was caught dining at last month, during which he neither wore a face mask nor adhered to social distancing guidelines. And on top of that, he was there with top health officials, and they weren't wearing a mask either. So let me get this straight. You are part of the party that supposedly cares about everyone's health and wants to institute these lockdowns, but for what reason? Because it's dangerous? Because COVID is this black plague upon the world, or as you want to say, Joe, a dark winter, but your own party members can't even seem to follow their own rules. They're not social distancing when they're out. They're not wearing a face mask. I mean, Nancy Pelosi got a blowout and went to a salon after being a proponent of shutting down all of those businesses. Okay, that's kind of ridiculous. Newsom has been ferociously criticized for the dining out activity, which came as thousands of small businesses and restaurants shutter. I mean, many of those businesses will never reopen. In fact, Breed, the mayor, dined at the restaurant just one day after Newsom, and several days before she said her resident basically shit on her residents for acting unwisely during the pandemic. I'm sorry, governor, and I'm sorry, mayor, but if you are the leadership, you should follow your own rules. That is the equivalent of a manager asking their employees to do stuff that they're not willing to do. Okay? Guess what's going to happen? The employees are going to get sick and tired of you sitting in the office, not doing anything, and playing games on your phone against the company rules while they get in trouble and written up for that stuff. Okay? That's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be the same thing here. People are just not going to follow the rules. They're not going to do it. You have to lead by example. Okay? Breed said, quote, I cannot emphasize enough how important it is that everyone act responsibly to reduce the spread of the virus. She said on November 10th, every San Franciscan needs to do their part so that we can start moving in the right direction. Oh, 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 is that the case? Because maybe you should follow your own advice because seems to me that you are not being responsible and you are not moving in the right direction according to your own standards. Okay? So, what's she saying now, right? We've been worried for months, but now it's real. Oh, now it's real. Okay, if it's so real now, why are you ignoring all of the rules that you yourself are a proponent of? Okay? Uh, so they want to institute more severe restrictions. Biden wants to shut down and lock down everything. And quite honestly, it's if Biden does become president, and it's looking like he's going to be, this country is in trouble. The economic recession or depression that we're going to go through is going to be insane. Okay, there's no other way around it because Biden is saying that this is his policy. This is what he wants to do, right? Well, you know, let's see what Trump has to say about that. So if we go to Fox News, Trump says if he's right about election fraud, Biden can't be president. Well, it's starting to look like you should hope that that's the case because you should hope that the election was cheated and it's found out because if not, we're going to get Biden locking everything down and it's going to be astronomically bad. Okay? Uh, so President Trump is saying if we're right about the fraud, Joe Biden can't be president. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of votes. We're talking about numbers like nobody has ever seen before. And while nothing has necessarily been proven, there's plenty of evidence to suggest that widespread voter fraud has been happening. Now, is it coordinated? Probably not. It's probably just a bunch of random people all thinking the same thing and just going ahead and doing it in different states. But, that hopefully we get the evidence and Biden is does not become president because if he does, we're looking at lockdowns, mandatory lockdowns, like businesses will go out of business for good. There's already been, I believe, the estimate says like 33% of businesses are gone already. So, do we want that the remaining 66% of the small businesses to go out of business? Because that's what it's looking like. Uh, Quote, the mail and voting scam is the latest part of their 4 year effort to overturn the results of the 2016 election, and it's been like living in hell. Well, yeah, I have to agree there. Uh, the whole Russia hoax thing, I mean, that took 3 years of his presidency and basically turned up absolutely nothing. Okay? Um, so really, I'm not even really on board with necessarily Trump winning. I just think he's the lesser of two evils. Okay? And when it comes down to it, I would much rather have somebody who did good for the economy as opposed to somebody who's going to lock everything down again. Okay, I'm sorry, but I'm not looking forward to 6 weeks of me driving to work and it getting pulled over and the cops asking me for my papers, wondering do I have a reason to be outside and do I have a reason to be going to work? Okay, I, I'm sorry, but that's kind of ridiculous because that's what's happening right now over in Europe. And I don't want to live like that. Sorry, not my idea of freedom. Okay. Uh, so it says here, Trump. Yeah, there we go. Trump's speech, recorded in the diplomatic room of the White House, came one day after Attorney General William Barr said in an interview with the Associated Press that following inquiries by the Justice Department and the FBI, to date we have not seen fraud on a scale that could have affected a different outcome in the election. Okay, yeah, that sounds about right. Um, because nothing's been proven yet. We just have tons of evidence, but the investigations are still going on. Okay, nothing's been finalized yet. So there's still lawsuits pending. There's still a lot of stuff that has to happen before we find out whether or not it's going to be Joe Biden or somehow magically going to be Trump. I really don't think so, but uh, you know, one can only hope. Now going back to this story about Biden, um, it's really heartbreaking. Some of these quotes from them, like, you know, this one worker saying, it's hard trying to keep up with the bills. We're really suffering. Um, we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, whether any help is going to come. Uh, well, it would have come earlier if the Democrats would have just taken the win instead of just trying to make Trump look bad and taken the win and gone ahead and just passed some of the stimulus relief bills. But they didn't. Um, One of the things that really got to me uh, during that whole thing was the fact that they were getting a lot of stuff that they were asking for in these bills, and they just didn't accept it. But that's just the way it is. It's politics for you. But when it comes down to it, it's looking like there's going to be a Trump presidency and, or sorry, a Biden presidency. And so I would say you just need to start preparing. If you are not an essential worker and you happen to be able to start working again, I would start putting money away in preparation for a 6 week lockdown, because it looks like it's going to be coming. And who know? And that's assuming that they stick to the 6 weeks, because there's no guarantee it's going to stick to 6 weeks, because before it was 15 days to slow the spread, and it stretched out to what, 3, 4 months of severe lockdowns, and in some states they're still going. So who knows, man? But you know, I'll stop here, and if you guys enjoy this content like this, these videos, just like and subscribe, and tell your friends, tell your family, go ahead and watch. I really appreciate you guys, and have a good one. Till next time.